for me. I thought I would start by just giving you a bit of background about myself. I live with my parents, my sister and my boyfriend. From 2009 through to 2010, I went to university to study English Drama and Performance Studies, but it wasn't for me, didn't enjoy it. So I took a few months out to work and thought, right, what do I want to do with my life? So in August 2011, I celebrated my 21st birthday, and in September I started a hairdressing course and absolutely loved it. Finally thought, right, this is exactly what I want to do. There was no worrying anymore, no worrying about exams, I was just doing something that I enjoyed. I was also a lover of going out with friends and going like, oh my god, the heels that I got, the skyscraper heels from on the shore. I used to love going out partying, and that was kind of my life. I was finally having fun. Then one Monday night I had a shift at work, went to a pub quiz with my friends, which is something we did every week. Drove there and got home for about midnight. Spoke to mum and sister, went to bed, and then that morning I woke up hearing my dad go to work. And I'm a heavy sleeper, and my dad leaves the house at 6 o'clock in the morning. So it was unusual for me to be awake. So I went to reach for my phone and tried to see what time it was, but I couldn't move. And I thought, oh, I've got pins and needles. I slept funny. So I went to reach for the phone again, still couldn't move, and that's when the panic started to set in. I felt funny. So I shouted for my mum, and my mum came into the bedroom, and I just saw the colour drain from her face. I was basically stuck to the bed, couldn't move, I was paralysed. Ambulance came, and then I was rushed into hospital, and only within an hour or two they said you suffered a stroke, and I was only 21. So I spent the next 2 weeks in hospital, going through intense physiotherapy, learning to walk again. I had to do occupational therapy as well. I had to learn to use my hands and use my fingers. And it was a really horrible time. I was on a ward with just elderly people. There was no one my age. Nobody even came close to my age. I had no one to share the experience with and look at someone and say, oh, well, you're going through it too. It was like I was going through it on my own. I kind of forced the doctors to let me leave hospital because I just hated it in there. I wanted to get home. And I left hospital under the strict instructions that I would continue with my physiotherapy straight away at home, and that was with the community rehab team. So since November of last year, I've been having physio every single week with the community rehab team, who have been amazing. Really, stroke changed my life. It left everything upside down. I just didn't know what to do. I was left still the same person in my head, but my body was different. I couldn't move my arm properly. I couldn't move my leg. I couldn't go into the kitchen on my own. I couldn't walk 10 steps without holding on to someone. From being a completely independent 21-year-old, I was left being dependent on everybody, dependent on my younger sister, my parents, my boyfriend. And I really did kind of wallow in the self-pity of the fact that actually I felt like I'd lost my young adult life. I felt like I'd lost the fun, I'd lost the going out and the partying, and I'd lost the hairdressing, which was something that I just loved. So for the first 6 months of having the stroke, I probably did feel a bit sorry for myself. I did cry. I did let it take over me a bit. And then 6 months came round, I was showing lots of improvement, I was walking again, but, you know, not for very far, but still, from being paralysed, that's a big deal that I could walk again. And it was my sister's idea for me to start writing a blog, so to start writing about my experience. And at first it was kind of just a bit of a therapy for me to write down something that maybe I found difficult to put into words, because I didn't like talking about it. I didn't want to make it an issue with anybody, I just wanted to pretend it hadn't happened. And really, I don't think I'd accepted the fact that I had had a stroke. So from starting to write the blog, it kind of snowballed from there. So word of mouth, friends and family read it, we passed it on to friends and family of theirs, and then through the amazing thing called Twitter, I harassed celebrities day in and day out to get them to retweet my blog, and it's now had over 500,000 views. Followers on Twitter, and all the followers that I've gained are either young stroke survivors like myself, who previously I've not been in touch with anybody who had a stroke, never mind a young person. I can speak to people who have maybe not had a stroke but have gone through a situation like mine that has changed their lives, and you know, it does just make you feel like you're not on your own anymore. And I just think that through writing the blog and through telling my story, I've been able to but even if it's just a little bit of awareness that actually this stigma on stroke, that it just happens to over 75s, it just happens to old people, it just affects them, that it's just not true, and that it is actually happening so much to so many young people, and they're just not getting the help or recognition that they need. And even just the fact that I've been able to say, look, I told my story, so why don't you tell yours? And through that I've had people say to me, do you know what, actually, by telling my story, I've been able to change my life and look at the positives rather than the negative. And I think that's kind of why I've been asked here today and why I've been asked to speak, is because I just want to tell people that there's positives in everything. You know, I can look at the fact that I can't walk properly anymore, I have a limp, I can walk for 20 minutes and then I get tired, that I can sleep for up to 3 hours a day after having a good night's sleep. I can concentrate on all that. I can't hold a cup of tea in my left hand, but I can hold it in my right. You know, that's just the way I see it. I just think that don't focus on the bad things, focus on the good. I might not be able to wear my skyscraper heels anymore and go out and dance the night away, but I can still act like I'm a VIP and sit in a booth and dance in my seat. Do you know what I mean? That's just how things work. And I just want to say, you know, if anything bad has happened to you or to anybody in your family, stroke has affected you, yeah, it's devastating, they're cruel, that they don't discriminate against anybody, they will happen to anybody, and like it happened to me when you least expect it. But just focus on the future. I focus on things like, I got engaged in July. My goal now is to be able to walk down the aisle in a pair of heels and without a limp. And that's what I want to look forward to. I don't want to look back and think, oh my God, this thing has ruined my life. No, it's changed my life for the better, in the sense that I am now a better person in my head. Maybe my body's a bit rubbish, but my head's a lot better, it's in a better place. And really, just to say to you all that actually there is life after stroke, and I'm proof of it.